Hello friends, welcome to Leader IS. Myself Professor Suhas. Today in this audio video books we are going to learn and listen the State Board of Maharashtra Standard 8 History and Civic Chapter number 4 The Freedom Struggle of 1857. So let's begin. Leader IS Professor Suhas Sargar. In 1857, the great struggle took place in India, which was completely shook the British government. This struggle did not arise all of a sudden. Earlier, as well as many such struggles took place in India against the British. The scope of struggle of 1857 and its background was taken into consideration by V.D. Savarkar in his book The Indian War of Indepence 1857. Later, many revolutionaries got inspiration from it. It fight against the British. The struggle before 1857 at every place where the British rule was established in India. The local people had to bear the ill effects of British government. The Indians started feeling that they are exploited in every strata due to the company rule. This resulted in increase of the discontent against their rule. The farmers and the common people became bankrupt during the company rule. In 1770, there was a major famine in the Bengal province, but the British ruler were indifferent and insensitive towards the Indian people. From 1763 to the 1857, the peasants of the Bengal participated in the rebellion led by the Sannyasi Fakir. Similar revolts took place in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and South India. Umaji Naik also gave a strong fight. He organized the Ramoshis and the loyal youth to revolt against the British. They drew a declaration and appeal to fight against the British and overthrow the government. They inspired the people in Pune, Satara, Ahmednagar, Solapur, Nashik, Bhor, etc. In 1832, Umaji Naik was arrested and hanged to death in Pune. The Indian tribes and forest communities also challenged the British rule. Their livelihood was dependent on the forest resources. The British laws put restriction on it. Consequently, the British column area of Chota Nagpur, Gonds of Orissa, Santals of Bihar fought against the British. The Gadkaris from Kolhapur and Fond Savan from Konkan also challenged the British before 1857. Some zamindars and the royal class from different territories rebelled against the British. In the army of East India Company, there were many Indian sepoys and they were ill-treated by the company. Their salary and allowances were very less compared to the British soldiers. In 1806, at Vellore and in 1824 at Barakpur, the revolt took up a fierce form. All these rebellions took place in their respective territories. They were local in nature and single-handed. The British forcibly broke down the revolt. Public unhappiness was suppressed, but it did not vanish. This anger burst out in the freedom struggle of 1857 at various places, and the rebellion took place against the British. The discontent in the minds of the diverse classes blew out in the form of this struggle, and its outbreak was in the form of an armed rebellion. Causes for the struggle of 1857. During pre-British period, there was a many kingdoms in India. Whatever changes took place at the center never affected the village system. The village system continued as it is, but the British changed the prevalent system and tried to set up a new system. Looking at the changing nature of village system created a feeling of instability and insecurity in the minds of people. Do you know Paika rebellion? Paika rebellion. From medieval times, there was a system of Paikas existing in Odisha. The standing army of the various independent kings were known as a Paika. The rent-free lands were granted to them for cultivation by the king. The Paikas earned their livelihood through it. In return, they were supposed to stand by the king's side in case of eruption of war. In 1803, the English conquered Odisha and they took over the hereditary rent-free lands granted to the Paikas. This made the Paikas angry. Similarly, the common man's life had also become miserable because of rise in salt price due to the tax imposed on it by the British. This resulted in an armed rebellion of the Paikas against the British in 1870. Bakshi Jagan Bandhu Vidyadhar led to this revolt. This finished the Do You Know Paika rebellion. Causes for the struggle of 1857. Next part, economic causes. Leader IAS Professor Suhas Sargar. Economic causes. The British introduced the new revenue system to increase their income. Taxes were forcibly extracted from the farmers. As a result of it, the agricultural system collapsed. To sell the British goods in India and enjoy the profit was the policy of the British. They imposed heavy taxes on the local industries. The handicrafts and textile industry of India were ruined. Many Indian artisans became unemployed. They had growing discontent in their mind against the British. Social causes. The Indian felt that the Britishers were interfering in the culture, tradition and custom of India. Sati prohibition, widow remarriage act were correct from the social point of view, but the Indians thought that it is an interference in their lifestyle and hence they were dissatisfied. Political causes. After 1757, the British took charge of many Indian states. Later, Lord Dalhousie annexed many princely states on various causes. The Nawab of Ayodhya was dethroned on grounds of maladministration, whereas the princely state of Satara, Nagpur and Jhansi were annexed through the doctrine of lapse. Due to the policies of Dalhousie, the Indians did not consider the British as trustworthy. Discontent among the Indian soldiers. The Indian soldiers were given low status by the British officers. They could not gain any post higher than Subedar. They were paid less compared to the British soldiers. The allowances were also gradually decreased. Due to this reason, there was a growing discontent among the Indian soldiers. Immediate cause. In 1856, the British provided the long Enfield rifles to the Indian sepoy. The sepoys were required to bite the end of the cartridge. The news spread out that these cartridges were smeared in the fats of cow and pig. Due to this, the religious sentiment of Hindu and Muslim sepoy were hurt and made them unhappy. The outburst disciplinary actions was taken on those sepoy who refused to use the smeared cartridge and were given severe punishment. Mangal Pandey from Barakpur cantonment shot an English officer as a reaction to unjust nature of British officer. Mangal Pandey was arrested and hanged to death, and this news spread like a fire. See, this is the picture of Mangal Pandey. The entire regiment of Indian sepoy at Meerut took part in freedom struggle and marched towards Delhi. Thousands of Indians voluntarily joined them. On the way, they handed over the leadership of the freedom struggle to Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah and proclaimed him as the Emperor of India. Scope of the struggle. Leader IAS Professor Suhas Sargar. The self-confidence of the sepoys increased with the capture of Delhi. It also gave inspiration to other soldiers. The revolt soon spread in North India. The Indian soldiers revolted in the cantonments from Bihar to Rajputana. The revolt spread in Lucknow, Ahmedabad, Kanpur, Banaras, Bareilly and Jhansi. Later it spread to the South India. In the revolt, Chhatrapati Pratap Singh of Satara and his officer Rango Bapuji, Chima Saheb of Kolhapur, Balasaheb Bhave of Nargundar, Bhagoji Naik of Ahmednagar were in the forefront. Royal King of the Pate. Surgana from Nashik district also participated in the struggle. In 1857, under the leadership of Kazar Singh, the Bhils revolted, whereas Shankar Shah led the revolt in Satpura. Shankar Shah led the revolt in Satpura region. 400 female Bhils participated in the revolt of Khandesh. Leadership of the struggle. During the 18th century, after the weakening of Mughal Empire, invaders like Nadir Shah, Abdali attacked India. The Maratha understood that Mughal Empire cannot react to this foreign invasion and took up the responsibility of safeguarding India. The Maratha fought against Abdali at Panipat for the same reason. In the freedom struggle of 1857, the descendant of the Mughal, Bahadur Shah, was incapable of fighting against the British. Understanding the condition, Nana Sahib Peshwa, Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi and Tata Tope took up the charge of the freedom struggle of 1857. The effects could be seen on the Hindu-Muslim unity in this struggle. The Maulavi Ahmad Allah, Kuwar Singh, Mughal commander Bakht Khan, Begum Hazrat Mahal led the revolt in various regions. The nature of revolt in Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow, Jhansi, West Bihar was more fierce. See the picture of Nana Sahib Peshwa. Crushing of the struggle. The Indians wholeheartedly fought against the British, including soldiers, zamindars, kings, commanders, and common people. The Indian sepoy started the freedom struggle before the fixed time. Initially, they succeeded, but military strength and this is the picture of Tata Tope, Rani Lakshmibai, Begum Hazrat Mahal, and Kuwar Singh. This is the map of the freedom struggle of 1857. Administration of British rule was vast. The British crushed down the struggle by all means. the British made a quick recovery and within next 6 months regained the lost territories. Rani Lakshmibai, Kuwar Singh, Ahmadullah laid their lives. Bahadur Shah was imprisoned at Rangoon. Nana Sahib and Begum Hazrat Mal took a shelter in Nepal. Tata Tope fought for the next 10 months against the British, but due to the betrayal, he was caught and hanged to the death. In this way, by the end of 1858, the British ruthlessly crushed down the struggle. Even though the struggle began with the discontent among Indian soldiers, but later the peasants, artisans, common people, tribes came together to fight against the British. In this rebellion, Hindus, Muslims stood up with a great force. Their common aim was overthrowing the British from India. There was an inspiration of gaining independence behind this struggle, and therefore this freedom struggle gained a national form. See, this is a picture of Bahadur Shah. Causes of failure of the struggle of 1857 became unsuccessful due to the following reason. The struggle was not comprehensive. The struggle did not take place simultaneously all over India. Its intensity was more severe in North India. But Rajputana, Punjab, some parts of Bengal and Northwest remained aloof. Lack of central leadership. There was no commonly accepted leader to fight against the British. Due to this, there was no uniformity in the struggle against British. Most of the feudatory princes remained aloof. Just as the common people suffered due to the British rule, similarly the princes also were suffering, but except a few others remained faithful to the British. Lack of military tactics. Indian soldiers were brave but did not use tactics. They captured Delhi but could not retain it. Similarly, the Indian rebels had limited arms supply. The British had economic strength, disciplined army, enough stock of latest arms and experienced army generals. Since transport and communication was in the hands of British, their movements were swift. Due to this, the Indian sepoy could not succeed. Wars are fought not only based on the bravery but also through the military strategies. International situations favorable for British. The Crimean War with Russia was just over. British won the war. They had trade relations with the different countries in the world. The naval strength of British was vast, whereas the Indian rebellions were isolated. Consequences of the freedom struggle. End of the rule of East India Company. Leader IAS Professor Suhas. Due to the company rule, there was a growing dissatisfaction among the Indians, and the British rule had to face the struggle of 1857. It forced the British Parliament to end the rule of the company and instead take over the responsibility of ruling over the people of India through the Government of India Act 1858. The Governor General was now designed as a Viceroy of India. Lord Canning happened to be the last Governor General and the first Viceroy of India. A new post called Secretary of State was created in the British government to look after the affairs of India. Queen's Proclamation. Queen Victoria of England issued a declaration addressing the people of India. All Indians are our progeny. Henceforth, they will not be discriminated on the basis of race, religion, caste, or birthplace. Government services will be given on merit. There will be no interference in religious affairs. It was made clear that British Crown will honor all treaties and agreements made by the company with the rulers of princely state, and no princely state will be annexed henceforth. Change in composition of army. The proportion of British soldiers was increased in the army. English officers were placed at a strategic location. Artillery was kept exclusively in the hands of British. There was a division of military on the basis of caste. Proper care was taken to avoid Indians to unite and rebel against the British. Change in policy. The British accepted the policy of a non-interference in the social and religious aspect of Indians. They also started taking care of that the Indian society will not be united on social grounds. They saw it and that there will be constant conflict on grounds of caste, religion, race, territory, etc. They adopted the policy of polluting the minds of the Indians by following the divide and rule policy. Due to the freedom struggle of 1857, the Indian failed of giving the united fight against the British rule. The freedom struggle of 1857 became an inspiration of Indian freedom movement. This is all about this chapter. Dear listeners, my name is Professor Suhas and you are listening Leader IAS channel. Friends, please subscribe, like and share and click on the bell icon if you want regular updates of our videos notification. Thanks all of you. These books or the listener books is useful for your state board exam, for the school as well as the college exam. Apart from that, if you are preparing for the competitive exams of the government job like UPSC, MPSC, PSI, STI assistant, Staff Selection Commission or the Talati Nagar exams and all that. So please do follow us. Your subscription, clicking on the bell icon, motivate us to do more for you. Thanks and thanks.